I'll also record it. So yeah. So we'll start with what do you want me to start? We'll start with YML first. Sorry, we'll start with Matplotlib first. That way, uh, just a minute. Okay, we'll start with Matplotlib. So that way, it will be continuation for NumPy, and then we'll go back to other things. Okay. Yeah. So Matplotlib, I told you, right? Matplotlib is basically used to plot your graphs. That's all. It's as simple as that. Don't go very complex, but that's how you need to understand. Okay. Yeah. So let me go over that. We'll see Matplotlib now. So let me go over it. So how do you work with Matplotlib? Is basically you need some sort of what we say, some sort of data that should be in terms of list. So it should be like this. So if I talk in terms of a graph, right, you need x-axis values and y-axis values. So this is how we need to do. So if you know these two, if you have these two type of data, then you can go ahead and you can plot your graphs. Got me right? So now let us see some simple graphs first. We'll see some simple graphs. Then we will go on in seeing how to work with other types of graphs as well. Yeah. So just a minute. I'm trying to check my charger. It's not found here. Okay, that's fine. I think I'll. Okay. So you have many types available in. We have around 4 types of graphs available with us. Okay. So first import your Matplotlib. Matplotlib. You need to import. So there are many types of plots you can use. So first we will go with a simple plotting. So import py plot. So you should write like this only, as plot. Okay, or import py plot I'll do. And also you will import style as well, because to style the graph. So these are the 2 lines you need to import for a module. Okay. So next you should take, I told you, right, you need some values x and y to project the data. So for the time being I will use 2 graphs. So py plot dot plot x values and y values. So I'll take some 1, 2, 3 as x values. I'll take y values as 4 by 6, which is another list. That's all, you are done. You go ahead and show that values. So it will show you. Okay, sorry, you need to install Matplotlib first. Matplot and pip. So you need to go here. You need to do pip install Matplotlib. That's how you need to install your Matplotlib. Of course, you can do this way, or you can go to Matplotlib website and you can download the exe as well. Rather than that, follow this. This is very simple. So Python followed by it will take some time to get the graph. So this is your graph. See. So for x is 1, y is 4. So what is a value of 1 for x? It is 4. What's the value of 5 for 2? So 2 it has 5. So it's here. So it's basically here. What's the value of 6? That is for 3. So that's why it's here. That's how you will plot a simple graph. So you have some options. We are going to see that, but that's how your simple graph is formed. Got me right. So if you want to get another output, you can go here. I'll close this graph and I'll rerun it. So I'm going to take different values here. Instead of 1 to 3, I'll take and I'll put 4, 5, 1. Just run your code. So Matplotlib is very huge library, so it will take some time to show you the graph. So this is how it is. Now you are clear, right, how the values are getting projected. So that's how your values are projected. So for x value, what is the y value it should point? So for 1 it is 4, right? So that's why it went here. For 2 it is 5. So where is your 2? 2 for 2 it is 5. And for 3 it is 1. So it came down. And that's how we will project the values. So this is one type of graph. And let us go to another graph. Another graph meaning will show you how to add the labels. Suppose now I want to add some label here, x-axis followed by y-axis. How do you do that? So for doing that, you can set the title. How do you set that title? So you will set the title here. So just do, I'll write for your convenience, setting titles. So I want to give a graph some title. So here I want to give some title to this graph and I want to give x-axis here and y-axis here. So how do we give that? We can actually set that pyplot dot title is something. So you should give some title here. So this is a demo graph. You can give some title. Now I want to give some label to x-axis and y-axis, right? So I can give pyplot dot x label. So give some label. So suppose this is x-axis. I want to give x-axis. So you can give that. Of course, it's up to you what you want to give. I want to give this as y-axis. So you can put the y label as well. That's all. Close the graph and rerun it. I ran it. Now it should get. See, this is a demo graph. This is the title and y-axis, x-axis. Got me right? That's how you can set your graph titles. Okay. Now let us see how to use two. Now I want to use the same graph, but two values, two different values. So you can project two different values as well here. Just to use another values here. You can use, suppose for 1, 2, 3. I want to use something like 8, 9, 10. That way my values will be huge. Okay, I can project two graphs as well. You can do that. So go here and run it. You will see the difference now. Earlier it was only I was projecting only one. Now you can project two. See, two values. This is 1 and this is 2. This is first graph. This is second graph. That's how we can project. You can project multiple values. It's up to you. So Matplotlib is that simple. That's all. That's about projecting the graph. Now see. So you should know how to project a graph, how to set the labels. Now we have some things. I mean, if you want to get some type of graph, we can do that. I'll show you. But see now, I want to, this is thin line, right? I want to increase the width of this line. So if you want to increase the width, just go here and line width equal to, suppose I'll put it as 5 or 5. See the difference. So it's up, it's like this, right? I'll close this and I will run. See the width of the line. See how the width is changed. Suppose for a green also you want to change, you can change it. Line width is equal to, suppose I'll give it as 5. So now both should get increased if I run it. Got you right? Got me right? That's how you can do. So there are many options like this. You can use whatever you want. Yeah. So yeah. So even you can label this lines as well. So suppose this graph is related to some population and this graph is related to some statistics. You can label that. You just need to pass a argument called label is equal to something like a test. See the difference now. Where is the label? I think it should be added somewhere. Yeah. 1 minute. Maybe the argument order should be changed. So I can use see this is the color changing. Suppose you want to get this color in red. You can put RGB, any color you can put it and you can run it. So that's one of the option available. See, change it to red. If you want to change to some cyan color, you can change it to cyan color as well. So this is how you will set it. Now you can use a label as well. Label is equal to suppose test. Okay, I think you should use, you should add a keyword called legend as well here. That way it will show you the exact values. See, it is showing the value as test. Suppose I can use another label for here for this with some label is equal to population. You can use it. It's basically test data. You can use like this. Now you can go and run. You can mark your labels as well. It's up to you what you want to mark. This is how you can mark. So the cyan color is test data. The blue color is called population. Clear, right? So that's how you will do. Now that is how you will work with the graphs. So any graph you will work with this. Now you have different types of graphs. Suppose this is basically a epic graph. But if you want, just a minute guys. Hello, yeah. So this is how you will try to work with any. This is called an epic type of graphs. But now if you want to, this is how any sort of graph. This is how you will work. Okay. Now if I want to work with some type of scatter plots, right? Or if I want to work with bar charts, how do I get up? How do I change the bar chart? That you need to learn. That's all. But whatever graph you use, the same techniques you will use. Suppose I want to change my graph to bar graph. How can I do that? Do you know how to do that? So what you need to do is you just need to use here. See, we are using plot graphs. They are basically plot graphs. Okay, you just need to change this to bar, then it will become bar graph. So let me take this in the second file and then I will change. So I will change this to mat_bar.py. Change this to bar. Okay, go ahead and run. Let's see what will happen. So Matplotlib is very huge library. That's why it will take some time. So don't worry. It will come. If there is some error, we need to fix it up. And let's see how to fix them. Okay, sorry, I'm still running numpy 3, but I should run with mat.bar. I had ran old file. That's why it's saying. Okay, see, it's saying some error like here it cannot convert some data. So I'm removing it because I told you, right, everything is same, but the way you use the graphs are different. That's all. See, these are all like bar plot graphs. So you can just decrease the line width or you can remove line width. That way you will see the correct results. So if I'm using line width, it's showing different. I mean, it's showing different. So now go ahead here and run that. Right. At least in the bar graph, you can only show one thing. So that's why I'll remove the first one. Now you should get it very clearly. Right. This is how your bar graphs are projected. See, for a value 1, it should raise up to 4. That's what it raised. For value 2, it should raise up to 5. It raised. For value 3, it should raise up to 1. That's what it raised. Right. So also you can use a style dot use as well. So this is not needed, even though I'll show you what is the difference if I use this. There should not be much difference even I use this or not, but let's see what will happen if I use this. So this is how it will become. So if I use style dot use, it will basically give the backend grid matrix to you. Clear, right? So see here that the values which I am projecting is not accurate. Accurate in the sense you can understand, but others cannot understand whether it's starting at 1.5 or 1.0. So for that purpose, what you can do is you can basically align it to some center. So align equal to center. You can center where it should sit and all. Okay. So let me go here and run. Now see the difference. See, now they are sitting correctly, right? Earlier it was hitting to 0.5. Now it was hitting. Now anyone can understand it belongs to 1, it belongs to 2, it belongs to 3. Right? So here this is basically 2, this is basically 1, this is basically the value of 3. So value of 1 is 4, value of 2 is 5, value of 3 is 1. So that's the values I had given it here. So to plot. Okay, even you can color it as well. Suppose I say color equal to R. Now see. So you have a color. What is the color you have currently? You have blue. Now it should get changed to red. So go here and go. See, it had changed to red. Okay, you can also give any number of lines here. Suppose I am going to change this. So instead of 1, 2, 3, I am going to use 4, 5, 6, and I am going to use the values of 7, 8, 9. So let us see what will happen. Right. So you can use, instead of red, use some cyan, so that you can see where is the first graph and where is the second graph. See, now you are able to see, right? The red belongs to first graph, cyan belongs to the second graph. That's how you can project multiple values using your, the first which I said is scatter plot. This is called bar plot. So it's up to you what you want to use. Okay. Now let us see, sorry, the first which I said is like epic graph, and I mean it's a normal graph. This is called bar graph. Now we will go to scatter graph, how to work with scatter graphs. Okay. So you need to take another file. So only there are 4 types of graphs. So if you learn 4 types of graph, that's all you can assume that you know matplot. So matplot underscore scatter. Yeah, I'm going to use the same things. I'm not going to use anything other, but instead of bar, you will use scatter. So let me run without changing anything, and let's see what to fix. Sorry, I need to run with a different file name. Yeah. So unknown property align. Okay, align is not used in the bar graph in the scatter plot, because scatter plot is basically it will be using dots. So you should not use align. So this is how your scatter plot comes. So your what we say, your values are basically dotted. So red is called the first graph, the cyan is called the second graph, right? So that's how you will work with scatter plots. Very nice, right? Scatter plots are very good. Yeah. Okay, so now let me take a text file. Let's assume that we have a sample text file, right? So this is the text file I have. I need to plot these values to a graph. So that's the use case I'm going to show you in the real time. That's how you will get data in a text file or from a database. You need to fetch it and you need to project a graph for that. So for this I'm going to project the graph. How do we do that? Okay, first what you will do is import all this import these things as it is here, and you also import numpy. So use case underscore 1.2. Okay, so just get the values. How do you load a text file? Yesterday I showed you, right? np numpy.load text of. So you will use that sample.txt. sample.txt. So you already did it. I would just want to reiterate it. Not this one. I think you did somewhere. numpy by 3, numpy by 2. Yeah, here. The same thing I'm going to use it here. Okay. Let me close these things. So you use a. So what is a? Print what is a. These are the values we got. But I want to load this to x-axis and this to y-axis, right? So I can simply say x comma y. So let us see what it will give in x and what it will give in y. So it says two values to do. So you can actually give a argument called unpack is equal to true as well. Let's try. Right? If you don't use, so suppose you want to get two rows to different variables a and b or x and y, you can use unpack equal to true. That way you will get the first row to x-axis and the second row to y-axis. So basically from here, right, the first row is 10, 20, 30, 78. That's feeded to first row, and 41, 50, 78, 90, which is called second row, that is feeded to y value, y variable. Now you have x and y data available with you. So suppose I can use the same logic here. I am going to use the same graph which I used, but instead of using this data, I'm going to use the data from x, and instead of using that data, I'm going to use from y. So I have only one graph, so I will remove this. So now go ahead and run this use case. It basically took the data from your text file and it had projected the graph. Right? That is how you will work in the real time. Not in the real time, at least a use case, that's how you will work. Got me, right? So whatever I showed you so far, I had recorded, and I also prepared a Word document for that. You can go over that if you want. That's how you will work on the real-time data in Matplotlib. So, I mean, in the real time, you will get a data like this from a text file or a CSV file. You know how to work with CSV and Excel files. So, we will load that variables to X and Y. Suppose you have you have another variable, you can use that also. But basically, you will use graph as a X and Y. You will treat it as an X and Y, but you can use that. So, this is how you will load. You load it and then use the graph as it is. Let me know if you have any doubts. Otherwise, I'll show you how to work with YML files.
Hello.
Yes.
Suppose two plots ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, two plots different scaling తో print చేసుకోవాలంటే ఎలా?
What is that scaling? Scaling అంటే?
For example, x equal to 1 centimeter అట్లా ఫిక్స్ చేసుకుంటాం కదా. టూ ప్లాట్స్ ని కంపేర్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఒక్కొక్క దానికి ఒక్కొక్క స్కేలింగ్ ఉంటుంది. స్కేల్ అనేది ఒక ప్లాట్ కు నేను ఒక స్కేల్ తీసుకుంటాను, ఇంకొక ప్లాట్ కు ఇంకొక స్కేల్ తీసుకుంటాను. అప్పుడు సైమల్టేనియస్ గా రెండు ప్రింట్ చేసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాను.
వాల్యూస్ ఇవ్వండి, ఇట్ విల్ టేక్ కేర్. మీరు ఇక్కడ ఏ వాల్యూస్ ఇచ్చారో ఆ వాల్యూస్ పెట్టి ఇట్ విల్ అడ్జస్ట్ ద స్కేలింగ్.
అంటే అక్కడ నాకు యాక్సిస్ దగ్గర అవి కూడా ప్రింట్ కావాలి ఆ స్కేలింగ్. సపోజ్ నేను తీసుకునే సపోజ్ 1 అనుకోండి ఫస్ట్ ప్లాట్, ఆ 1 కు సంబంధించి స్కేలింగ్ అనేది మెన్షన్ అవుతుంది. నెక్స్ట్ సెకండ్, నెక్స్ట్ ఇంకొకటి అనుకున్నాను అనుకోండి, ఇంకొక స్కేల్.
మీరు అప్పుడు సెకండ్ డిఫరెంట్ గ్రాఫ్ లో చేసుకోవాలి అవి. రైట్. ఇప్పుడు ఈ గ్రాఫ్ లో హౌ కెన్ రెండు గ్రాఫ్స్ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఏ గ్రాఫ్ దానికి తెలియదు కదా, రెండు గ్రాఫ్స్ కి ఒకటే స్కేలే తీసుకుంటాయి, రైట్.
అంటే ఫస్ట్ గ్రాఫ్ ఫస్ట్ 1 ఇక్కడ చూసుకోండి 1 2 3 అలా తీసుకున్నారు కదా, సెకండ్ గ్రాఫ్ లో నేను 50 100 150 అలా తీసుకున్నాను అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు రెండు కంపేర్ చేయలేం కదా, స్కేలింగ్ మారిపోతుంది.
అవును, మీరు అప్పుడు రెండో గ్రాఫ్ లో చేసుకోవాలి కదా. ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ ఒక గ్రాఫ్ మీరు ఉంది, ఒక లైన్ 1 2 3 5 6 ఉన్నాయి, సపోజ్ ఇది జీరో నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అయింది. మీరు ఒక గ్రాఫ్ ఇలా వేసినారు, ఈ రెండో గ్రాఫ్ కి ఈ వాల్యూస్ ని ఇంక్రీజ్ చేయగలరు కానీ యూ కెనాట్ చేంజ్ ది స్కేలింగ్. మీకు అలా కావాలన్నప్పుడు సెకండ్ గ్రాఫ్ లో యూజ్ చేసుకోవాలి అది. నేను ఇప్పుడు
అలాగే మెడ్ చేయలేమా అనేసి అక్కడే.
మీరు
ఇది సెకండ్ గ్రాఫ్ లో
రియల్ టైమ్ లో ఎలా చేస్తారు మీరు? అంటే రియల్ టైం కాదు, జనరల్ గా బేసికలీ ఇఫ్ ఐ గివ్ సమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ టు యూ, మీరు చెప్పింది ఎలా చేస్తారు జనరల్ గా? ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ పాసిబుల్, రైట్? పైథాన్ వదిలేయండి, నార్మల్ గా మీరు చెప్పేది నాట్ పాసిబుల్. మిమ్మల్ని అడిగాను అనుకోండి చేయమని, ఎలా చేస్తారు చెప్పండి? ఒకటే గ్రాఫ్ లో హౌ డు యూ ఫిట్ టూ స్కేల్స్?
అంటే నెక్స్ట్ సపరేట్ తీసుకుంటాను, సపరేట్ తీసుకున్న తర్వాత ఏమైనా మెడ్ చేయగలమా అని అంటున్నాను. కంపేర్ చేయగలం సపరేట్, మళ్ళీ స్కేల్ సైడ్ ఇంకొక స్కేల్ వస్తుందా ఇక్కడ అనేసి?
లేదు అలా రాదండి. మనకు రియల్ టైంలో ఏం చేయగలమో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ వీ కెన్ డూ. ఇంకా దానికంటే తక్కువ చేయగలం కానీ ఎక్కువ చేయలేము అనమాట.
ఇది ఫస్ట్ ఒకసారి చెప్తారు, అది హౌ ఇట్లా ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసుకున్నారు, ఇది ఫ్రమ్ మ్యాట్లాబ్ ఇంపోర్ట్ అని.
ఈ యూస్ కేస్ అంటున్నారా?
యూస్ కేస్ కాదు, జస్ట్ ఆ లైన్ ఇంపోర్ట్ చేసుకున్నాం ఫ్రమ్ మ్యాట్లాబ్ ఇంపోర్ట్.
యాక్చువల్గా ఫ్రమ్ మ్యాట్లాబ్ లేకున్నా ఇట్ విల్ వర్క్. సో బేసికలీ ఇంపోర్ట్ మ్యాట్లాబ్ అని కూడా అనొచ్చు. జనరల్గా సి ఇఫ్ ఐ విల్ గో హియర్, ఇది చిన్న యూస్ కేస్ కదా, ఐ విల్ గో హియర్. ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ యూజింగ్ లైక్ దిస్, సపోజ్ స్టైల్ అనేది తీసేయండి, ఇలా వాడకుండా మీకు ఇంపోర్ట్ పీవై ప్లాట్ అంటే తెలుసు కదా. ఇంపోర్ట్ పీవై ప్లాట్ అంటే వాట్ ఇట్ డస్, యు నో, ఇట్ విల్ ఇంపోర్ట్, రైట్? సపోజ్ ఇది లేదనుకుందాం, ఇది లేకుండా నేను రాస్తే ఏమవుతుందంటే పీవై ప్లాట్ ముందు ఐ షుడ్ యూజ్ లైక్ దిస్, matplotlib డాట్ పీవై ప్లాట్. సో ఇక్కడ నేను matplotlib అని పెట్టాను, ఇలా వాడాలి, ఇంత ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ వాడాలి. ఇంతలా లేకుండా జస్ట్ ఐ కెన్ యూజ్ ఫ్రమ్ matplotlib ఇంపోర్ట్ పీవై ప్లాట్ అంటే ఓన్లీ ఐ కెన్ యూజ్ పీవై ప్లాట్. అర్థమైందా? ఇలా డైరెక్ట్ ఇంపోర్ట్ matplotlib అనకుండా, అంటే ఈ matplotlib అనే ఫైల్లో నుంచి జస్ట్ ఇంపోర్ట్ దిస్ ఫంక్షన్ అని దాని మీనింగ్. మీకు ఒక ఫైల్ ఉందనుకోండి, సపోజ్ 2 ఫైల్స్ ఉంటే 1 ఇది 2, ఇందులో ఐ హ్యావ్ టీ ఏ బి, ఈ 3 ఫంక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇందులోకి టీ అనే ఫంక్షన్ కాల్ చేయాలంటే ఎలా కాల్ చేస్తారు చెప్పండి? ఇక్కడ ఇంపోర్ట్ 1 అని రాస్తారు, రాసిన తర్వాత 1 డాట్ టీ అని కాల్ చేస్తారు, అంతేనా? అండ్ యూ కాల్ విత్ 1 డాట్ ఏ, దట్స్ హౌ యూ విల్ కాల్ ఇట్. కానీ ఇవన్నీ ఇంపోర్ట్ కాకూడదు, ఓన్లీ టీ అనే ఫంక్షన్ ఒక్కటే ఇంపోర్ట్ కావాలంటే యూ విల్ రైట్ లైక్ దిస్, ఫ్రమ్ 1 ఇంపోర్ట్ ఏ అంటారు, అంతే. ద సేమ్ థింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ మ్యాట్ప్లాట్ అనే ఫైల్ నుంచి ఓన్లీ ఇంపోర్ట్ దిస్ పీవై ప్లాట్ అని చెప్తాను. దట్స్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ టెల్లింగ్ యూ. అందుకనే ఐ రోట్ లైక్ దిస్. సో లెట్ మీ గో బ్యాక్, ఇలా రాశాను, ఫ్రమ్ matplotlib అనే ఫైల్ నుంచి ఓన్లీ ఇంపోర్ట్ పీవై ప్లాట్ అనే ఫంక్షన్. ఎందుకంటే ఫ్రమ్ ఇంపోర్ట్ matplotlib అంటే ఐ విల్ గెట్ ఆల్ దీస్ ఫంక్షన్స్. రాదర్ దాన్ దట్ ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ ఇంపోర్టింగ్ వన్. మీరు అలా రాసిన ఇంపోర్ట్ matplotlib రాసినా కూడా ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. So let me know if you have any doubts so far. Otherwise we'll move on to matplotlib. Sorry, matplotlib. YML. We'll see YML, how to do YML files. So మీకు JSON ఎందుకు వాడతారో you know, right? Why we use JSON and all we know. So why JSON is used? JSON is used for dynamic configurations, even for automations, for a normal developing site and all, you use that. So similar way we use YML. So this is also one of the most used configuration files. So if you want to configure something in the runtime, you will use that. So we had already seen that example, right? Let me go back to that. Yeah. See this application. So let's assume that this is some medical application building system you wrote. right? And we have some assumptions. So this file we are giving to some 20 customers. Okay, so each customer when they run, right, when they run this file, they want to get their name. Suppose here I'm hard coding a value of Lenovo. I'll remove this thing, entire thing. So you know this, but I would just want to go over that. So let's assume this is one of the building system you wrote, and then you had shipped this code to some customers. Okay, and they are running this billing application. So when they run this, they are getting a name called Lenovo. Even Dell company takes this code and they are running this code. They are getting Lenovo as the name here. But you gave this code in terms of binary. How does Lenovo company changes this? Dell company changes this name here. They need to contact you, and then it needs to be changed, right? So I do not want to do that, because let's assume that not 20 customers, you have around 200 customers. You cannot change that, right? For every customer you cannot change and you cannot ship them. So it will be a headache to you. So what you will do is you will create a YML file. See a YML file, how the YML structure will be there. So for YML thing, you need to install YAML file. YAML module. So you just go to your command prompt. You know how to install modules, right? Python modules. Pip install YAML. So this is how you'll install your module. Okay. So I'm going to create a sample YML here for my purpose. I'm going to create a sample thing. So I'll just give name. So some name, whatever name I want to get here, I'm going to give that name. So I'm using my name as okay. I'm going to use my name as company, or I'm going to create a YML file like this, company, followed by inside this I'm going to give name as something like let's take Dell. I'll save it with some test.yml. Yeah. Now what I'll do is I will also ship this YML file along this py file. Now what I'll ask you is, suppose you don't want to get the name as Lenovo here and you want to get another name. Even though I'm giving this py file as binary, what I'll do is he will also get this YML file, right? What I'll ask is just change the Dell name to whatever your intended name. Suppose he wants to get a name of IBM here. Change the name in this YML file. Then when you run this Python file will go and pick the name from here. Whatever name is present there, that will be projected here. So you just remove this. So now I'm going to do the dynamic configuration, just to do format of. So okay, before going this, I'm going to show you how to read the YML value. Then we will push it there. So for reading the YML value, you need to import YAML. So import YAML. This is a module you are going to import. Then F is equal to open up. You know how to read a file. Test.yml, and you are going to use R. Okay. So just to do A equal to YAML.load of F. So all the data present in the YML file is stored into A. Now print your A. See what you are going to get. Okay, maybe YAML file I created this. I got the data. Okay. So if you go here and see, so whatever data is present, all the data I got it as a terms of dictionary. So your YML file, when you load it to Python, again it will be a dictionary. Now if I want this name, what I should do? I should print. Suppose if I print a company, it will give me what is the values of company. So this is the dictionary. So it will again give me name and IBM. If I want this name, then I should do print A of company followed by name. That way I'll get IBM. So I got IBM. Now this is the value I'm going to use it in the runtime. So go ahead and create a label into 30, and then here I'm going to use, so I'm going to use hard code a value called Lenovo here. So first I'll make it working, then we will change the dynamic configuration. If you run, still you are getting Lenovo here, but I want to get the name here in the YML file. What value he gives, that value I need to get it, right? For that purpose, what you'll do is you will remove Lenovo here and then dot format out. So how can you get IBM? How can you get this value, name value, by using this A of company of name? So just use this thing. Now go here and run it. So your IBM, you are getting IBM here. Now you will ship you will convert this to binary and ship YML file and also this Python file as well by in the terms of binary. So YML file, if you want different name, just remove IBM here and put what you want. Suppose I want Xiaomi. So just put that name and then run your script. It will automatically populate that name, Xiaomi. And if you want to use something, some other different name, suppose you want to use Vayu, you can use that. So that names are automatically populated. That way, even the guy who is changing this, he doesn't need to have any programming knowledge. Even an integrator or a developer also can change these files. Right? So that is how you will read your YML file. So if you want to, want to have another value here, age, you can use that age 30. You want another value called something like let's take ID. You can use that 90. You can use that. So just go here. So you can actually, so if I read A till A of company, I'll get all these values. So let me remove this thing. See, if I do print A, I'll get all the, okay, just a minute actually. Don't worry, that's the issue with my notepad. You won't get that issue. So line 5, column 1. There is an issue with line 5 and column 1. Line 4 and column 10. Just a minute, it's not issue with my code, but issue with my notepad++. Okay, what is going on here? Let me check 1 minute. So you need to think in terms of tree structure. So you have a company and the company has a name. Company can also have age. Company can also have ID. Is this possible? Yes, it is possible. So they should allow. Okay. Let me see why it is not allowing me. Let me remove this and try to run. Yeah, so this is possible. You can have name Vayo and you can have a age as well. You can have age with something. Yes, it is also readed. Yeah. Now you can have a field called ID with something called test. Yeah, you can use that. So your age is basically 28 and your ID is basically test. So that's how you can do multiple connects. So from the tree point of view, you have a company which has a name. It also has age. It also has ID. So if you want to read this type of structure, this is how you will create it. So now you can go to your JSON file and you can load it. So you have got all the tree structure, right? This is the, suppose I want to get what's the name of my company. So I need to go here just to do A means you are at this tree. Now I'll do company. What you want? I want the company's name. So just go ahead and print the name. Suppose you want company's age, you will go here and print it. Suppose you want company's ID, you will go and do change like this. So this will give the name, this will give the age, and this will give the ID. Let me go here and run it. Right, you got VO. This is basically VO is your age. This is basically your name. This is the age, and this is your ID. That's how you will work with YML. So you can have multiple configuration. Any sort of configuration you can have. Even I can have another. You have a company 1. You can have company 2 as well here. You can again add your fields whatever you want. So that's how your YML is configured. Okay. So let me know if you have any doubts so far. Otherwise, we'll move on to Django. Sorry, we need to see exception handling. But exception handling, I'll just give you overview of what is exception handling and all. Then we will see in the Django part, we will see in the live how to use them and all. So let me know if you have any doubts so far. Otherwise, we'll move on to exception handling. Okay. I'm going to write some code here. I'll ask you how to fix it. Let me know how to fix that code. That way I can show you in depth how to use exception. What is it? Why exception handling is needed. Okay. I'm going to take A value as 10. I'm going to take B value as 0. I'm going to divide A by B. What will happen? It crashed. Your code is crashed. Right? It crashed. It threw it with an error. But even these type of cases had been encountered, your code should gracefully exit. That means it should not crash like this. Instead, it should say that, hey, user, don't give input value, the denominator as 0. So how do you handle this type of, suppose you are not aware that this instruction may pass or may fail, then what you will do? How do you catch this type of exceptions and convey that to users? So that's where your term is basically. You just add in try. That means try this instruction. If not, if this instruction is failing, that means you just go ahead and print this message. When can this instruction go wrong? That you should be able to analyze. So this instruction can go wrong when he is giving, don't give 0 denominator. This way, in this case it can go wrong, and in other case, what is the another case? Don't give string values. So if he gives the string values, so suppose, right, so let me remove this thing. Now see what is the difference. So it won't crash. It will simply say don't give 0 denominator. You can just put an error message here. Error. Don't give 0 numerator. See how gracefully it is showing that. But here you see it had crashed your code. So if you want to gracefully execute some instruction, so try to execute that instruction. And if your interpreter cannot execute that instruction, it will simply come to except block. So even not only print, just try to put some, this is not a valid instruction by your interpreter. Try to run that. See, it's not crashing. It's simply saying that don't give a 0 denominator. So that's how, whatever instruction you are not confident, just go ahead and put it in the try block. And if that is executed successfully, it is fine. If it is not executed successfully, it will come to except block and print this message. Okay. So that is how it will print your exception handle. That's how you will manage your exceptions. So we'll see this how to use. Yeah, let us see some more things. Suppose let's assume that you are connecting to a database from here. You are connecting to a database from here. From where? From this line. This line. This is not this line, but let's assume you are connecting to a database. Okay. but for some reason my database server is down. So how do you tell that to user, hey, your server is down, please check? How do you tell that? If you don't have try and except, simply if you try to connect, it will crash, saying that it cannot connect to server and it will crash. But that will be only understood by developers or the guy who wrote the code. But for others, how can they understand? So you will just use try. You will do whatever operation you will connect to database here. If it had connected, that is fine. Otherwise, it will show an error here. So you will put a message saying that maybe the server is down, so I'm not unable to connect. Please try after some time. You will write that print message. So that's how you will use your exception handling. So we'll see this in, you will see some more examples in Django. But for time being, understand that if an instruction which you are not confident or which may fail or which may pass, that things you should put it in the try. And the except block, you should just give at what places this instruction may go wrong. So this instruction may go wrong when you are giving zero denominator. So those type of things you will use this try and except. Okay. You also have a word called finally as well. You can also use finally. Finally is basically this is executed irrespective of try or except. So why we use this finally word is, so if try executed successfully, it won't go to except block, but it will go to finally block. That's one use case. If this had failed, then it will go to except block and it will also go to finally block. That means irrespective of try and except, it will go to finally block. That's where you use that. Okay, why do I need to use these things? Why I need finally here? So if you have a file open, so if you are trying to open a file here, you are trying to open a file here. If it opens successfully, then what you need to do? You need to close that file as well, right? You will close that file here. Suppose you try to open a file, but it failed. Still you need to close that, right? That you will close it here. So you just write it like this. So even it passed, it will go and open the file and it will do some operation. If it failed, it will come to except block and tell that, hey, I'm opening the file failed. Then you should close it, right? So anyhow, it will come to finally block. You are having a logic to close it here. So in those places, you will use this except, try, except, and finally. You can have any number of exceptions. Suppose I can have one more except as well here. See, I can have one more except, print something like this. So let me delete this. So go ahead and run. What happened here? Oh, sorry. You can have any number of try and except. I thought of telling that. I just kept except. So you can put any number of exceptions. Sorry, not exceptions. Any number of try and except block, you can put it in your code. Suppose I can have another try here. Another, it's similar to your print another exception. Can also put another try here. Print here. You can have any number of try and exception blocks inside that. Maybe I'm not closing this. Yeah. Right. So you can have any number of try and exception blocks inside that. That's how you will work. So we'll see some more examples when we are onto Django, especially. There are some use cases where we need to check. We'll see that. So let me know if you have any doubts. Otherwise, we'll move on to Django. Django is nothing new. It's basically a web framework which is used to develop web applications or websites using Python. Django is basically a Python framework which is written using Python. So we call it a Django as a framework. So we have many frameworks available. We have Flask as well. We have Flask. We have BuildBot. So we have many frameworks available. We have some robotic framework as well. We have availability. We have many frameworks available which are written in Python. But most used is Django and BuildBot. Don't worry, BuildBot is basically a continuous integration tool. We are not going to see that, but just for time being, I'm telling you. Django and Flask are available frameworks in Python, which are basically used to build your web applications. If you want to design a website, if you want to boot up your websites, if you want to write server-side programming and all, you will use this Django or Flask. So Django is Flask has limited functionality, but Django has very good community support and more complex use cases you can develop using Django. That is how you are going to use them. Those are basically written using Python only. So you are going to write Python code. So I'll tell you how we are going to cover Django and all. Based on that, you can get your doubts as well. So first we'll create an initial project using Django. We'll create how to create a project and all. We are going to see that. And after project creation and all, I'll show you how to configure the project. So leave about the normal stuff, because to start working with something you need to have bare bone backend. That and all we are going to set up. So basically from scratch, suppose you join a company, they won't ask you to create a Django project from the scratch because it's already developed. You just need to go and write the code. But here we are going to see from the scratch. So from the scratch. So basically I don't want to put everything from the scratch till you boot up your website. We are going to do that. So that way you remember. So outside, if you go outside, they are not covering this Django admin. We also cover Django admin. I'll also show you how to work with Django admin as well. So using Django admin, you can create simple websites in minutes of time, just seconds of time. You can create that admin interface in Django. That much of easiness is there in developing a website. And we will also develop an web application using HTML files. So of course, I'm not going to teach HTML and JavaScript. We are not front-end developers. We are basically back-end developers and purely on Python. But for you to show how to fetch the HTML files and all that, you need to learn. So I'll show that as well. But I'm not going in depth what is present in the HTML files and all. HTML is basically this file. That's all. So whatever you are seeing in the colors, that's basically HTML. That's all. But if I click here, what should happen? That will be written by your Python code. Okay, if I click here, what should happen? That HTML guys don't decide. You should decide. Your code will get that event. So when I click here, this event will be got by your Python code. Your Python code, you will write that logic, what to do and what not to do. Okay. So for today's class, I'm just going to show you how to create a Django project. And from tomorrow, we will start from fresh, how to work with them and all. So if you want to create your, anyhow, I'll again come back tomorrow on how to create a project. But for time being, I'll show you how to start a project, how to create your project. So just to create one directory, there we are going to store our files. So mkdir followed by test_1. So cd to the directory. Yeah, first you need to install your Django as well. Django framework also you should install. For installing that, pip install django-admin. This you should type it in your command prompt. That's all. It will go and install your Django for you. Okay, or simply you can try installing Django if Django admin doesn't work. So I think any one of the things should work. So try to use that. Yeah. So if you want to create Django, so just go here. If Django is installed successfully, just go and type Django admin. If it is installed successfully, let it come. If it's installed successfully, you should see something like this. Just a minute, it will take some time to come up. You should see like this. So you should see something like this. That means your Django is created successfully, installed successfully. So to create a project, just use Django admin followed by start project. That means you are creating the project. Start project and your project name. What is your project name or what is your website name you want to create it? Suppose I want to create web_test as my project name. Go ahead and create it. It will basically create a project in this test1 folder. So if you open your test1 folder, so just open your test1 folder. So this is basically test1. If you see a website called web_test is created because you gave your name as web test. Go here, it had automatically created all these files. So manage.py and in the web_test folder, you have all these files created. So each file has its own duty or own task. So I'll go what each file does. I'll go over that in tomorrow's session. But for time being, assume that this is how you will create a project. And once you create a project, all the files belonging to your website are automatically created, and each file has its own task of doing. This is what you work from the scratch. So to configure your website, you need to learn how to configure the settings.py. So this is the main heart of your file. So all the website settings are present here. So all the URLs are present here. URLs meaning, suppose the guy who is working on the web browser, right? He will do like this google.com. What should happen when he types google.com? That you will define it here. Okay. So if he types on google.com, what should he should show a Google page, Google web browser page, right? So that we will write it in the urls.py. wsgi.py is basically used for booting up your server. I'll do that, how to do and what to do. So manage.py is basically used to interact with your website. So suppose I want to create a table for my website. You cannot go here and create it. You just need to talk to your website using this manage.py. Right? That is what we need to learn, how to talk to your website using manage.py. If I want to create some database or some models is basically database tables. So how are we going to do that? That we are going to see using we are going to do using manage.py. So we'll see that tomorrow, because if I start Django now, you will get confused. Whatever you learned so far, and this will be different. That is, but what you are going to write a Python. That's all. So if you open this is all Python. If you open this, right, it's all Python. It's nothing new. You can open settings.py also. It's all Python. I'm not doing anything new. We are going to learn just Python. That's all. Using Python, we are going to develop this website. But if you want to get this type of interface like coloring and all, you need to learn HTML. If you don't want this coloring and all, you just need some text and all, you can directly work with these things. You do not need that. If you want coloring like these images and all, then you need to know JavaScript and HTML. Otherwise, you do not need that. Okay, in the companies, they may basically look for a Django developer who is basically backend developer. Because HTML, the guy who knows front end and back end, you find it very rarely. But if you know that, that's good. You will call it as a full stack developer. Full stack developer meaning you should be good at front end and you should be good at back end as well. Okay, we are basically experts in writing back end. So we'll see how to write back end logics and all. Tomorrow's class we'll try to do. But before coming to tomorrow's class, just try to install this Django. Pip install Django, that's all, it will install it. Once you install, try to do Django admin, start project by your website name. It should create something. That means your setup is ready. If you are facing some issues with your setup, tomorrow we can see what to do and all. So tomorrow can we have some long session to complete at least. Tomorrow can we have a long session to complete Django, because I don't want to give gap. If I give gap and come back, you will get confused easily. So let me know if you are fine for tomorrow's class for a long session. At least 2 to 3 hours it will take to complete Django. Nothing new, it's all Python. Just you need to understand where to write what and how to write them. That's all. Anyhow, we'll have recorded session, so you can seek forward or backward from where you lost. And if you have any doubts, again you can call me. I can help you, or you can WhatsApp me what is going wrong and all. Let me know if you are fine. I'll ping you in WhatsApp. You can try to respond to that if you are fine. Otherwise, we'll go with the Saturday and Sunday class. If you are not fine for a single session, it's up to you. I am fine for two classes. I just want to complete in a single session. That way, you will have some time. What is going on and all. Yeah. Okay, guys. Let me know if you have any doubts. I'm done for today's class, and tomorrow we will see that exception handling,
I have a
database,
doubt.
and this. Yes.
I installed this Matplotlib.
Okay.
So after that, I just run small basic program. Initially, you wrote the program now. Just write and draw a
Right.
graph.
Right.
Yeah. After running that, I'm getting an error like modules object has no attribute writer.
Can you post that code here in the chat?
Okay, 1 minute.
What is the error you are getting?
So I will also post it.
Yeah, paste it. Okay, what is the name you saved? You are saving with which name?
I say with the matlock_1.py.
So do you have any files with the csv.py in your location?
1 minute, I will check it once.
Yeah, that's the problem. Just remove that csv.py
Yes.
file. Just remove that. Basically, right? You should not use any of the files. Suppose you should not save any file with os.py. So os is basically a module, right? You should not save with your module name. That is the problem in Python. Suppose you know what is the other module you know. Suppose you know Matplotlib. You should not save any of your file with matplot.lib .py. What is the other you know? You know shuttle module, right? You should not save any module with any file with shuttle.py. So your module name and your file name should not be same. That is the main thing. So if you are using csv.py, that means it's a CSV module. So just remove that csv.py file and try. It will work.
So it was showing. Okay, I will try it and I will pin in WhatsApp.
Yeah, sure. It should work. Yeah. See here, here it is showing that encapsulation we covered, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, we will see that in Django. Anyhow, we will see that in Django. Don't worry. Encapsulation is nothing new. You just have private. I'll let you know so that you will understand when I'm dealing with in Django. So you you have a class, right? You have a class. You have some functions here. You can access any of this variable from outside of your class. But what if I want to protect my variable? Suppose the values which I return, the variables which I return in this function should not be accessed by the outside of my class. So for that purpose, you use private, protected, and public. So basically, if I write a equal to 10 inside a class, that's a public. If I use underscore a equal to 10, that's basically protected. If I use underscore a equal to 10, that's basically private. That means no one can access this variable. This variable can be accessed by anyone, but if I write a variable like this can be accessed only in the inside the class. Sorry, by the outside of the members who had created the object using underscore a. But if I write underscore a equal to 10, only inside the class I can access that. That's basically called encapsulation. You're basically protecting your data. You're encapsulating data. Still, this is also possible to access, but you should exactly know what is the class name, what is the variable name and all. Then only you can access this thing. I'll show you how to do these things and all. We'll see anyhow in the Django, we'll see that. Because we need to cover exception handling also. Exception handling, I just gave you overview. That's all. I did not went in depth. So we should see how to work, how to write your own exception. Suppose I ask you to write your own exception, how to write that. How there are already we have inbuilt exceptions, so we need to see how to use them. That we'll see in Django part. When we are writing in the Django side, we'll see that. As a part of this, we'll also see that some more oops concepts also we'll see there. Yeah, don't worry on that part. Yeah. Okay, and thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, okay.
రెగ్యులర్ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్స్ లో క్వశ్చన్ మార్క్ అని ఒకటి చూస్తున్నానండి అది
Yeah, that is not needed, Arvind. Yeah, you can work without that. But question mark is nothing new. It's basically used for replacing one character. You can use dot instead of that.
Okay.
So there are many regular expression operators. So if you learn all the things, you will go mad. So just go with the operators which are shown. You can form any of the operations using that.
సో వాటిలో మళ్ళీ ఫంక్షన్స్ కూడా డిఫరెంట్ గా ఉంటాయి కదా. ఫైండ్ ఆల్ అని ఒకటి చూశాను.
Yeah, so you can use that find all, search and all, but there is a difference. If you use find and find all, you cannot get the data like how I shown you. Using search only you can do that. Suppose you can use re.find also. There is some limitations. You can use re.find also, but the problem here is it will assume that your starting data should correctly match, otherwise it won't work. But if you use re.search, it won't matter about your data, but it will matter about your expression what you wrote here. So no one uses this find all and all. Everyone uses this search only. Go with search. Okay, you have re.match also. So no one uses that. Everyone uses re.search. Go with re.search. Don't use other things. Find all and all. So even you start writing your interview, this is what you should use.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me know what else doubt you have. Otherwise, I will log off and reconnect tomorrow. I'll ping you in WhatsApp if you are fine for tomorrow session, for long session. Otherwise, we'll take 2 sessions. If you are, it's up to you. I'm fine with either the way. And don't worry, I'm not hurrying up. Even if you need extra class, we can take it up if you have some doubts. Just go ahead and practice it. That's all. Okay, guys. So you don't have any doubts. I'm logging off. And if I had missed any concepts, I can go over them. Don't worry. Just bring to my notice.